This is the most extraordinary time in the history of civilization, and we can't afford not to know what's going on to the best of our ability to examine it and to understand how it is we are participants in this moment, how this moment is influencing us, and how we are influencing this moment. Now, I think many of you, if you've heard me lecture or listen to anything I've had to say, you know that I'm a lover of history. And so history is a teacher for me. And you know that people will oftentimes say, well, if I could live in another time in history, I would go here or I would go there, and I would live in Egypt or whatever, but not me. If I could choose another time, I would go forward. I would go forward maybe 100 years, maybe 200, because I would want to know how historians write about this time we're living in, this time. I would want to know how they see us and how they explore our consciousness now. Because I think so many of them would write about, did we know, did we realize the power of this era that we are now living in? Did we realize that we were undergoing the most extraordinary transformation of consciousness, of power, as we shift from an age of a fossil age, an age of being five sensory, to an age of entering the galactic era, the galactic community, to an age of becoming multi-sensory, to an age of going from being sovereign nations to slowly, rapidly, invisibly and visibly shifting to becoming a global community. Now, there are so many expressions of transformation that I'm going to explore with you that are influencing your life, changing your life, down to your DNA, down to your relationships, down to how you relate to everything in the world, down to the power of your thoughts, to how you approach your health, to what you want from relationships, to how you suffer, to how you approach healing, to why you examine spirituality, to why you wonder whether or not there's a God. And if there is, what are you going to do about it? All of these questions, all of them are happening everywhere because we're sharing this journey of transformation. But it just didn't drop out of the sky. Nothing this cosmically enormous just happens. There's a reason. There's always a reason. So let me say something about that. I'm a spectator, just like you. I'm an observer, a spectator, a teacher. So what I am offering you are my observations that come from years of observing us and through the lenses that I have. One of those lenses is my history as a medical intuitive, which has opened up a profound theater of knowledge for me that is obviously going to influence what I present to you. But through that theater, what I have learned is, I will tell you more than what I learned in school, but what I learned is all about us, all about us, all about our nature and how our nature is so aligned to the laws of nature. And that told me more about organic theology than anything I learned as a graduate student in theology. That in fact, the nature of God is cosmically organic, something we'll explore. I learned as I observe us that in fact, there is something to this idea that we influence reality, that we are the engines of creation, co-creation, something we're going to explore. These aren't small ideas. These are cosmic truths. Cosmic truths. And they are reshaping us. They are reshaping the tiniest thought forms in us. They are transforming us. And in ways subtle, in ways enormous, in obvious ways, in social ways, political ways, in financial ways. But those are what you see is actually the caboose on a long train of events that have just spiraled because a force of transformation began decades ago, triggered by, I think, one major event that I'm going to discuss, and then we'll take it from there. But I want to say that as I discuss all of these awakenings, my intention is to inspire you to recognize your world through this lens, to see the things, the events that are happening within you and around you as having purpose and meaning, as being connected to a enormous journey that we are all sharing. And to some extent, there's a frustration that we don't even have a vocabulary large enough to hold this event. We can call it awakening because it's like a realization, but is it even an epiphany? Is it larger than an awakening? Is it more than that?